And you got me that way, and I'm wondering if I came on too strong, walking side by side and backwards down the stairs.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for the BCBP, Blue Collar Business Podcast, episode 7. This time we're talking about finances, taxes, income, all that good stuff.
I like one of those words.
Yeah, me too. One of them's a little frustrating.
Or there's
But
three.
it's part of life.
I just don't like taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we are twin brothers who live outside of Phoenix, Arizona, and we both started our own handyman remodeling businesses, and we just kind of fell into it in a way. Like, we didn't necessarily plan to start these businesses. They're not even like businesses, but they are as far as the government is concerned.
Yeah.
And we're making good money, and it was so easy. So we just want to encourage other people to do what we're doing because we're able to turn our skills into a lot more money than what we were making before.
Yep. It's not too hard.
So if you are even close to thinking about that, please be encouraged, and maybe we can help you start your own business. So before we get into the content, we like to start the show with talking about what we've been working on lately, so you get a feel for what it's like day to day. So Grant, what have you been working on this week?
I am doing drywall again.
Very sorry.
Yeah. So I was doing a drywall job, doing some ceiling drywall, and I finished that up. And
How's your shoulder doing? You said you had some injuries.
yeah, I was. It wasn't really an injury, or just some real soreness in the
That's a shame. We're getting old.
upper shoulder area. Yeah, I think it's really just my age showing. So I had to stop for a little bit, but actually I started doing some other things in between. I'd like fix this like front door. It was like there was some wood that had a gap. I had to fill it in and repair that. And now I am back to drywall. That's what I was doing today.
That's beautiful.
And the ceiling again.
Real quick, in case you heard that ringing on Grant's phone,
Sorry.
Grant is the only person in our generation who doesn't put his phone on vibrate. He has actual noises coming out of his phone. I don't understand.
You always
it.
have it on vibrate?
Everybody does. I've had it on vibrate for like the last decade.
Well, I guess I usually have like earbuds in.
Oh, okay.
So
Just
I like-
24/7.
I mean, a lot of the time. Yeah. So I usually hear it through that thing.
Oh,
And
that
it doesn't
makes
go
more
off
sense.
on my phone, you know.
All right, that's excusable.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I cut you off. You were talking about your
I cut
least
myself
favorite
off
career.
with my phone going off.
Your least favorite job, drywall.
Yeah, more drywall, and I've spent like 4 hours on it today, and I hope I'll be done with it tomorrow.
You know, you're going to end up like me because I ended up doing probably like 70% of my work was drywall, and I didn't even choose that. It just kind of happened. Like everybody who called me wanted me to do drywall, and I was like, okay, I'll do it for X amount of dollars, and you know, if it's going to make me the most money, I'll do it. But I didn't really want it.
Yeah.
So that might happen to you.
Well, there seems to be good money in it. I mean, people, I guess there's not a lot of drywallers out there. Maybe not.
Yeah, I feel like there's not, or people are intimidated by like big drywall companies that feel like they're going to get ripped off.
Maybe. Yeah. Also, I remember last week I brought up the Vancouver Carpenter and
Oh, legend.
the YouTube channel, and he, his channel is called Carpenter, but all he does is drywall.
True.
I feel like we're kind of both falling into that.
Yeah, not our career choice, but it's just the reality.
Yeah. We go where the money's at.
That's true. You can respect that. Yeah, I also was working on a drywall job.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you mentioned it last week. Are you done with that one?
I finished it. It took me 2 days as far as like hours. I was like 16 or so hours of work. But I did it over 3 days. And I ended up I calculated it just for the show,
Okay.
$63 an hour. I was pretty
Wow.
happy with that.
That does seem good.
Yeah, I was pleased. So it was like, yeah, I don't remember exactly how many hours it was, but I ended up making around 1,000. So
Okay. Wow.
it was good stuff.
Yeah, that seems like good money.
But yeah, I think I had said before, I'm not going to take on this job unless they pay me a lot because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I hate doing ceiling drywall. But the price is right. So I did it. I didn't love it at all, but I got it done.
Yeah, it sounds like the price is right. That's pretty good money.
Yeah.
Is that like accounting for like gas and transportation, and or is it just kind of what you spent on the job time wise?
I subtracted like the materials that I bought, but I didn't subtract like my drive time. But it was only like 15 minutes away. So
yeah,
it
for
wasn't
3
like-
days, it's probably not that much anyway.
It doesn't really calculate up to that much anyway.
Right.
Pretty minimal. So you said you're going to be done in like tomorrow?
I think so. Should be.
How much do you think you're going to make on this? So you did like the garage drywall, now basement drywall. You've done a lot. So how much are you going to get paid? How much do you think you're going to make an hour?
Oh, I really don't know totally. I'm hoping to get like maybe 40, 50, somewhere around there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I'll have to look at it again because they added a few things, so I gotta like kind of redo my numbers a little bit.
Yeah, we'll
Like the
follow
drywall-
up, see how it ended up.
The drywall I'm doing right now is something they added, so
Nice.
I'm not totally sure yet. But I'm hoping, 40, 50, which is good for me. I usually underbid everything, so
That's good for anyone, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, I would be happy with that. I'm only unhappy if I make like 30 or less,
Yeah.
which sounds kind of snobbish now. I mean, I used to make like $16 an hour.
But I mean, if you can get that kind of money, like you might as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's competitive.
Yeah.
Like it's not uncompetitive to charge that much, so it's a good situation.
It's not like you're running a monopoly on handyman work. So
That's true. Yeah, people willingly do
if
this.
they're gonna pay for your job,
That's true.
go for it.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one doing it though. I
Really?
wanted to bring this up on the show because we just bought a house, me and my wife, and so we've been getting a ton of random furniture on Facebook Marketplace. I've gone to like 10 people's houses to pick up things. Every single time I go to their house, they see my car and they ask for a business card. Every
Really?
single one.
How many?
I like 10.
What?
Yeah, it was so weird. Every
Wow.
single like, "Oh, you do like a handyman stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Wait, I remember when we did the advertising show that you said that sticker wasn't doing a lot for you. But
The
it sounds like it's
sticker-
killing it.
Nobody
recently.
ever calls me from the sticker on the car, but when they see the sticker, they ask me in person.
Okay, it just kind of all comes together.
Yeah, so it does do me some good, but
Yeah.
indirectly, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that was going on.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe there's not that many handyman out there.
I don't. Yeah, maybe not. At least not on this side of the valley.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the show content. We have a few things we want to discuss. Let's start with income. So, how do we set like an income goal? I don't know if you think in those terms. I've tried to set like, oh, I want to make X amount of dollars. Like my first year I did it, I like to say I made $55,000. Because for me that was really good, and I was only working like 30 hours a week. It wasn't full time even, and I still was making that. But I didn't set that as a goal. I was just kind of trying to make it work.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a goal in mind. I was just trying to do it. But like if I was to do it today, I think I would try and set myself like a goal for this calendar year. I want to make 100,000, something like that. So I don't know how reasonable you think something like that is, or how feasible it is to make $100,000,
Yeah.
$150,000. You know what I mean? Like how possible are these numbers?
I think it's definitely doable. I've never really put a lot of like effort into, I'm going to figure out how exactly I do this, because I've never
Yeah.
really set up a number for myself. I just kind of just work while I can find it. I know that's just where I'm at right now. But I have calculated in the past, like, okay, so if I make like 50, 60 bucks an hour, I forget what I set it at. I think it was somewhere around like 55, 60 an hour.
That's like your goal. That's
Yeah.
your target.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, if I do this, 8 hours a day for, I don't know, like 45 weeks out of the year or something,
Mm-hmm.
like that's like a good amount of vacation time off too.
Yeah.
I could, like,
No, that's a factor.
I think it
Like,
was
you wanna
like
plan
I
for
could
that.
make like $85,000, like with those numbers. I mean, obviously there's different expenses.
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
cool. That's
But
great.
I was like,
goal.
that's like a pretty good number for a year.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I first started out, I was telling people
I'm not making
Okay.
that. If I
Maybe you
did
need
it
to
right,
raise your goal then.
if I did it right, I could. Yeah.
It's feasible, you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just has to take the actual making it happen.
Yeah, I just got to get my bits together and start making a little bit more money per hour.
But I'm sure you've gotten better at it over time.
Oh yeah, it's like every job I get better at it.
Yeah.
so.
When I first started and I was telling people that I was going to start doing this as a career, because people knew that I was handy and I'd done stuff for them, but they're like, I was just telling them, yeah, I'm actually going to do this as my full-time business. And one of our parents' older friends, he's an electrician. He told me, he was like, how much are you going to charge an hour? Like, not necessarily that you're telling people how much you're charging an hour, but how much is your goal? And I was like, oh, maybe like $30 or $40 an hour. He's like, make it higher. He's like, why not 60? Why not 70? I was like, oh, I never really, like, is that possible? He's like, yeah, like, why not shoot for that? Like, your time is worth that. So why not try for it? And so I did. And no one had told me that I just didn't even think that as a possibility.
Right.
And
Well,
so,
because like when you're working for other people, it's like they're not paying you that much rarely.
yeah.
So you don't even really consider that your time can be worth that.
Yeah, but like, the way I like to think about it is like a lot of those are businesses usually.
Yeah.
And so, if you go work for a drywall business, you might be making $20 an hour, but you got like your managers, you got like, there's always people taking money off the top.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much to go around at a larger company, and there's like larger overhead and trucks and everything. Like it's a very small operation. So like my overhead costs are super small. I just have a tiny car.
Yep.
And I rarely have to buy equipment because I already bought it all. So I can take pretty much everything as profit. And so it doesn't necessarily work that way when you're working for a company.
Right.
But that's like kind of the going rate is decent, like $60, $70 or more an hour. But yeah, I just had never really thought in those terms until that guy had mentioned it to me, which I'm really happy he did because I wasn't even planning on making that as a goal.
Oh, really?
Until he
Just
said
from that one
Yeah, I was like
interaction?
happy with, all right, yeah, $30, $40 an hour. And that's what I was bidding people at. I didn't have any idea that I could possibly get more. Another thing I wanted your thoughts on this.
Okay.
So I experienced this my first year I was working. Grandpa Bill had referred me to somebody in his mobile home complex.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I don't know. I mean, I maybe price them out, but I'll try it. So I went and did an estimate. They wanted me to build like a ramp for their dog to like go from their backyard to their house, just out of wood. And I tried to give them like a pretty low price because I knew that would probably like lower income.
Right.
But they were like appalled at how much I had quoted them for.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was like, ever since then, I've been thinking like because generally my clients are a little more well off.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
how do
someone
I
like that
get
is retired?
How
they're
is it
kind of on a-
possible? Is it not possible for me to get into those kind of communities? Like, am I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I would like to expand my group of people that are potential clients as wide as possible. But like, how do I work for people like that who are lower income? But I also don't want to be working for too low because I can make more somewhere else. You know, how do I not just end up working for rich people?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a good answer to that. I mean, because, yeah, there's just for yourself, like, just your opportunity cost is like, why even bother if you can find
Yeah, I
other work
haven't
for
done
more
any
money?
work. I didn't do any work. There's like multiple people that reached out to me there, and I didn't do any work there because I was like, I can make more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I've still been trying to figure out a solution to that. My only solution I can come to is I think you just gotta find a way to make your like time cheaper or your labor cheaper, and that might mean like hiring somebody else who can work for less than you do. Which
Yeah.
I've never hired anybody. I mean, like I've hired some help here and there, but I was like, I guess if I ever want to work in like mobile home communities, I'm gonna have to hire somebody who is happy with $25
Right,
an hour.
'cause you're not.
Because I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, and not because I wouldn't be happy with that, but just because I can make way more in
Yeah.
other
Just
communities.
what we're saying, like you could do other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, was it just that one person that didn't like that number?
It was
Or-
a couple people in the same complex.
and they all thought it was like too
they
much.
thought it was too much, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
intentionally trying to keep it as low as possible, so it was like lower than my going rate usually, and it was still like astronomical to them.
Weird. I don't know. I mean, are they finding other people that are like way cheaper?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I
she
get it.
ended up doing it herself. That
For
lady.
them, they're like on a fixed income, so I'm sure they don't want to spend a lot. But like,
Yeah.
you know, you got to find if you need work done, like you kind of got to pay the going rate.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't know anybody else is going to do it for cheaper.
Yeah.
So, like in that situation, they ended up doing it themselves, the work. So maybe that was why they thought it was astronomical, because it was something they could hypothetically do themselves, which they ended
okay.
up doing. So that was probably part of it.
But it was also other people.
But yeah, it's just stuck with me ever since. Like I would love to like expand my clientele like that and work with lower income people, but I just don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think just generally, I thought about this with the work I do. I just need to like make things more efficient just in general. Like I'm just I mean, this is a constant thing that I bring up, but I'm just like really slow.
Sure.
So if I just find a way to like, I don't know, make some kind of process that just makes it go faster, or buy some better tools. I don't know exactly, but that could obviously bring costs down. So maybe if you got really good at that, or like really good at a specific kind of job that you could get really cheap, then you could get,
true. Maybe if
just
you
for
were
some
like
specific
super
projects.
good at like just a quick drywall patch,
Yeah,
and you could do it at lightning speed, then you could like, it doesn't matter if you're only getting paid $50. If you're going to get it done in 10 minutes, then who cares?
exactly. You just have to really get good at it, I guess, and quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something to be thinking about too, how to always improve your productivity and like be faster at things.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard for handymen because we do so many things. Like
Yeah,
there's
that's the
nothing really
thing.
we can like be super proficient at because we do so many things.
Right.
All right, we'll go on to the next section.
Okay.
All right, I want to talk about some strategies for cutting our costs in our business. And we had mentioned before that we might want to talk on the show about like credit cards and business cards from like Lowe's or Home Depot. So yeah, like what's your experience with cards? Have you ever gotten a card from Lowe's or Home Depot or any other supplier or something like that?
No, I wanted to look into it this week because
Yeah.
well, when I'm at Lowe's or Home Depot, they're like always not always, but many times I've been there, they like ask me about
That they're pro.
if I want to
thing.
do their like pro account or the credit card or
Well, you worked there. You didn't learn any more about it?
well, when I worked at Home Depot, they have I think it was like pamphlets and I don't remember any of it. It was so boring.
Okay. You didn't bother to read it. It's too
We
much
had like so
literature.
many training videos, and I know that was one of them, but I
Yeah.
watched that one at like 3 times speed and barely paying attention. I don't really remember how it works exactly, but I do remember when I worked flipping houses that one of the owners of the business, we would buy all the stuff we got from Home Depot. Anytime we would go to Home Depot, I would pay with the credit card that they have.
Yeah.
And they got points from it. And like Home Depot has a thing where you can use your points to get gas at like, I think it's Circle K or something. And that seemed like a really good deal. Like she was getting like $1 off of gas every time she went just from those points.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, I don't know how much it added up to, like what the percentage of the like cash back was.
Yeah.
But it seemed pretty good. I mean, like getting way cheaper gas seems like a pretty good thing to go for.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm looking at the Home Depot website right now.
Okay.
I'm curious like what the annual fee or whatever is. Because again,
I have no idea.
Really, I don't know why we haven't looked into this. Like,
I
buy everything from
really
Home
need
Depot.
to.
Like, I'm sure it would benefit me.
Yeah. All I use now is just my credit card
Yeah.
because I get points from it, and it's it's something, but it's like I don't know what is it like 0.5% or 1%. I don't even remember.
Like 1.5, I think.
Yeah, it's like really low. And I think if you had one for one of those companies or like Lowe's or Home Depot, I think it might be more like 2.5.
Yeah, I'm sure. It says online too that there's like deals like you get 20% off on paint, stains, primers,
Yeah.
like stuff like that would be
I did
handy,
talk to
too.
an employee at Lowe's a while ago. They were really trying to sell me on it, and I
Ooh.
was totally going to do it. I just never did.
Couldn't
But
commit.
well, I just didn't have time that day to like actually get it set up. I said I would do
Yeah,
it later, and
you
I
didn't
just
wanna be
never happened.
catfished.
Yeah. It wasn't really getting catfish. Like, it seems like a good deal. I just didn't have time to set one up right then.
Yeah.
And I just never have. But it was like, yeah, you got discounts. Like, if you bought like things in bulk, you got like, it was like 10 or 15% or something. It was pretty good deals.
I know it's worth it.
Yeah.
I actually, the only thing that I did do is I set up an account with Sherwin-Williams Paint, and that was great. Like, they gave me discounts on paint, like a significant discount. It was like 30 or 40%.
Oh,
so
like any paint you got, or is it like a certain amount?
yeah, like any paint I buy there.
Oh, okay.
So like that was awesome.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
Like that partnership, I mean, yeah, benefited them for their business, but it also was like super beneficial for me because then I got to save on paint, and I was at a time where I was painting a lot for people, so it was perfect. So I know that that's probably applicable to Home Depot, Lowe's, like other situations as well. In general,
I think it'd be worth it.
yeah, in general, like you need to put all your business charges on a credit card, though.
Yeah,
like, you're a fool not to.
There was this summer, like I kind of just got started doing this stuff like this summer, like doing handyman work on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of it, I like lost my credit card a while ago, and Chase had like never sent me a new one.
Yeah.
So I could pay for some stuff like with my phone. I had my credit card set up on my phone, and I could use that tap pay
Oh, but
on
Home
my
Depot doesn't have that.
on like Google Pay.
Yeah.
But Lowe's and Home Depot, they don't have tap pay. I think Lowe's finally does, at least a few I've been to now.
Yeah.
But like this summer, they didn't have it. So I was having to pay everything with my debit card. And I was like, oh, I'm not getting any cash back.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It was annoying because it's like I get, it's not a lot, but like, especially when you're spending money on your business, like it adds up quick.
Yeah, I'll look at. I mean, I don't even think about my business card because it's just business expenses, so I don't even care what the payments are. But I'll like look back sometimes. I've added up a bunch of points, and it's like $100. I'm like, that's just free money. Like, it's
I know.
awesome.
It's great.
It's just from buying stuff for clients. It's not even for me. I'm buying it on their behalf, and I'm getting free money because of it.
Yeah. So, and I know, like, I don't know the percentage, but I'm pretty sure, like Home Depot and Lowe's, if you got one of their credit cards, like it would be more of a percentage,
more cash back, that kind of thing.
So,
anyway, I'm sure
I'll
a
have
lot
to
of
get
people
one
know
someday
about
soon.
credit cards, but I feel like some young guys maybe don't even know that if they're going to run a business, they should buy everything on a credit card. Don't be a fool with it, but you got to get the points.
But yeah, it just makes sense to get those free points.
All right, here's our last segment before our final question. You're going to love this one, Grant. It's about taxes.
Oh, great.
So how do you deal with taxes, and how do you like try to do what you can to pay as little as possible with your business?
I don't do much of anything.
All right, nice.
I just calculate like all the money I made that year,
Okay.
and then I just pay it off. I don't really do many deductions. Well, this year I didn't make that much money.
Do you kind of like when you're doing your taxes and you get to see how much you made?
I guess.
I'm always curious because I don't really track it. Until,
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, I
the
don't
year.
really track it well. Like while I'm doing stuff, I have to like go back and spend a few hours figuring out how much I made that year.
Yeah,
It's not a good way to do it.
no, it's not. But I was the same way my first year. Like the first year I made $55K. I had no idea I was making that until I filed for my taxes, and I was like writing up. I was like, "Whoa, I made that much!" Like I was blown away.
Yeah.
But I wasn't tracking it at all the whole year.
Right.
But I think it would be helpful too because it would help you like be motivated to. Oh, I'm not reaching my goal.
I think the only deduction I do is like mileage on my car. It's for gas and stuff.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And I didn't really have any. I think we mentioned this before, but I haven't really had like some major tool purchases recently.
Yeah.
Although I did, for this next year's taxes, I did keep some receipts. I did buy some tools recently. It was like a few $100. So
Oh, okay.
I'm keeping that for next year.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I just try to expense everything possible. Like you can expense your or deduct your cell phone bills. Like you can
What?
deduct your yeah.
Really?
You can deduct like meals if you're buying a meal like and you don't have access to food, like if you're out of I don't know the semantics of it. I'm trying to make it up, but I don't actually know. But just sometimes I expense food because I feel Like I can do it in good conscience.
When you say that, like, what does that mean? Do you have like some kind of app that you go to, or like how do you do that?
Oh, this is probably the worst way to do it, but I just go through my credit card statements like
Oh,
at the
okay.
end of the year, and I'll just look at.
You just do
how
it
it
all
was.
at the end.
Yeah, well, that's what I did originally. Now I have an app that tracks. It's like Rocket Money. It's like a budgeting app for
Okay.
just not for even business. It's just for anybody, but it's super nice, and
Yeah.
so I just track everything for my business too
I haven't
on that.
recently, but a few years ago when I was doing the house flipping, and I was like, the way I filed my taxes is I was self-employed. It's pretty much the same way I do it now.
Yeah,
But I was working for this company, but I was like, it was my business, but they hired me. It was kind of how it worked tax-wise.
okay.
But I had this app that would track my mileage, and it worked, well enough. So like some of those apps are definitely helpful.
Yeah, especially if you really are motivated by keeping track of how much you're
Yeah.
making. Like for me, it is motivating to know like week to week, month to month, how much I'm making if I'm actually finding success. So for me, those apps are helpful because I can actually see real time how the business is going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another thing I wanted to mention was that just as far as when it comes to starting a business like this, if you start small enough, it's super easy. Like we really should get our LLC, we really should get our contracting license at this point. But when we started off, like that felt like a lot. And so it was like, I don't want to worry about that. And I didn't have to worry about that because like in Arizona law, you could just be a handyman if you're making under $1,000 a job.
Yeah.
And like that's so nice because I could do anything as long as it's under that cap. Like I don't need a license right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I don't think people know that they can just get out there and start doing things under that like canopy because they feel like, oh man, I have to file all this stuff. I have to get my
Right.
license. And like that would be ideal. But like if you're intimidated by that but you just want to get started, like you can just get started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we just got started like that and we haven't even done any of the extra legwork yet. And I
Right.
mean, I've like 3 years in, So I definitely should, but I just say that to motivate people.
Yeah, it's
To
not
say
something
it's
that
not
has
that scary.
to hold you back from going for it.
Yeah. All right. Final question.
Okay.
So Grant, what is an injury that you've sustained on the job? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't had any horrible injuries, like something that's like kept me off of a job for like a long time or something. Like
That's
I don't know,
nice.
like I haven't like hurt my knee or
Yeah.
sprained an ankle or something. But I've cut my fingers like hundreds, well, probably not hundreds, but like dozens and dozens of times just with my razor knife that I have all the time. It's just a very sharp knife. I have so many cuts all over my fingers.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
I like grind it off like a top layer of skin with a sanding disc like a couple months ago.
Oh gosh.
Just dumb small injuries like that.
Yeah.
They're just like nicks and bruises. I've done that a lot. I stepped on a nail one time and it like went through my shoe and I had to go I had to get a tetanus shot afterward just to be safe.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
how
was
bad
like
did
a
that
pretty
hurt?
gross looking rusty nail.
Oh,
Yeah.
that hurt pretty good.
That one hurt pretty good. Yeah. It got
What part of your foot did it go in?
like right in my heel. Like I put a lot of
Oh.
weight onto it. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That one did not feel good.
Did it like poke into your bone?
No, it was just like I
Like
don't know,
you
just
moved your
the
foot away
fleshy,
immediately?
fleshy part. Yeah, I was like, it got pretty deep, but like, I think it just like fell and took the weight off like instantly once I felt
Ugh.
it.
That creeps me out.
Yeah, so nothing crazy, but those things do hurt. There was one thing that happened that I thought of. I was taking out this giant mirror in a bathroom one time. It was like one of those master bathroom mirrors that like cover both sinks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I don't know, 6 feet, 7 feet wide, and 2 or 3 feet high, and it's big. And I tried to take it out by myself, which was just not a good idea. I should have waited, but it was late, and we were like trying to get this flip house done with, and I just want to knock it out.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get it out by myself without breaking it, and it broke in half while I was holding it.
Oh gosh.
And this huge chunk of glass fell right on my forearm. And I could just see this glass on my forearm. I was just imagining that as soon as I lift this glass up, my arm is going to be cut in half. I'm going to be bleeding out all over the place. I was so scared for like a few seconds before I moved that glass. And then I
Yeah.
moved it, and it was just a small cut. But I mean, I don't know how I didn't have a worse cut. I mean, it was a really heavy chunk of glass. I mean, like freshly broken, so it's super sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was over.
You got lucky. It
I
wasn't.
thought it was going
It
through.
wasn't that sharp.
Yeah, like an artery or something. I was just gonna bleed out.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be terrifying. I would have totally
It
thought
was.
my arm was gone forever.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are heavy.
That's the thing. I mean, I still don't know how I didn't get a worse cut because it was a really heavy chunk of glass. I mean, it was not a good idea in general. But yeah,
Well,
luckily it was just a small cut.
Thank goodness you have both of your arms to this day.
I know. Yeah. How about you? Bad injuries?
The worst one I could think of, well, there was one time I dropped like an iron gate on myself, which is probably my worst injury, and I like cut open my chest pretty bad.
Oh.
Like it was like a 300-pound like solid iron gate, and I was trying to throw it into a dumpster, and I didn't heave it high enough, and then it fell back on top of me.
Oh,
And like
you
almost,
try to throw
it
it.
almost skewered like into my sternum
Oh,
because it was like the
jeez.
pointy part. It had,
Oh, it was like it
points
had
on
like a sharp end.
Oh yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. So that could have been a lot worse. Kind of like your mirror situation.
Yeah.
Like, it really could have like punctured into my heart or something.
Oh my
But luckily, it just gave
goodness.
me a scratch. Yeah. So there was that, and then another time I shot a nail out of a nail gun into my finger. My middle finger. I just shot it directly into it, and it was just sticking. It was kind of cool, actually. Like you could just see a nail just in my hand on
Wait,
either side.
like all the way through?
yeah, all the way through.
Oh
It
my
went.
goodness.
It didn't go through the bone. Luckily, it like was just above the fleshy part. Like it was just. It was all the way through my finger, but it wasn't. It didn't hurt the bone.
Oh man, what gauge of nail was this?
18. So it wasn't that big, but it was
That's
still,
still was
pretty.
pretty
It was
good.
one
That's
of the
pretty
bigger
good
ones.
size.
yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I've never done that. I always do worry about like with those Brad nailers that I'm gonna like shoot it through my like,
oh, I
through my
worry.
whole hand.
I
or something.
really worry now.
Yeah, but
'Cause
you
I've done it.
actually did it.
Yep. That was probably the worst.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. Have you had anything that like kept you off the job for a little bit?
No. But I was thinking that if I was going to do this business again, now that we have a kid on the way, I probably would get insurance to
Oh, that's
cover
a
if
good
that
idea.
happened.
Right.
Because I haven't really needed to worry about it that much. Like if I couldn't work, I would be all right. But like now I would be a lot more stressed out if I like broke my leg or something
Yeah.
and couldn't work for a couple weeks, or probably more than a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
that would really bother me a lot. So I think I would need to get insurance.
Do you ever do like work on roofs or anything? Because every time I'm anywhere near a roof, I am terrified that I'm
Yeah.
gonna fall and like break my legs.
Yeah, especially like slanted roofs.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid I'm just gonna slip and be gone.
I actually did a little bit of work at our brother's house like maybe a month ago.
Kyle?
Yeah, and I had to check something on his roof. I was just looking at something because they had a leak, and I was seeing if it was related to the roof. And I think it was because they had a cracked roof tile, but I had to go up there. Every time I get up on like, it was pretty high up, but
Yeah.
I was shaking so bad. And then like once I got up there, I was so scared to go back down.
Oh my
It took
gosh.
me a few minutes to build up the courage to get back on that ladder.
Have you always been afraid of heights?
Yeah, and it was like it had been a while since I've been on like a taller roof like that. I forgot.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't really think about like I sometimes I just get really scared. I mean, I did my Christmas lights this year like on my roof on a ladder, and it wasn't that bad.
I'm not that scared of a 1-story roof, but if it's like 2-story and I'm up
It was-
there,
it was
I'm
2-story, yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you're gonna get some serious damage or death.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up.
All right.
We covered this topic pretty good. I'm happy with it.
All right. Yeah.
We had some helpful advice. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week on Monday.
Okay. Bye.
And you got me that way, and I'm wondering if I came on too strong. Walking side by side and backwards down the stairs, all alone. Can't even read or see the signs along the road. Someone tell me which way. Tell